fun entertainment. Again, this is just some of the heights you can go as far as entertainment, getting the audience to go along with the storytelling. Because of medium, live action, film, 3D, writing books, doing play, all these things are communicating with the audience. And again, keeping it entertaining. Nothing worse than being bored when you go to a movie. You're bored when you go to a play. You want some entertainment. And so again, you look at all the party thing, and the body language, the way that they're set up, the way the gags can work. It's just classical things that we need to be utilizing to the most of our abilities. Are there any questions, comments, or observations?
So when you were talking about how to get entertainment into like your work, you were talking about doing things that people can't do, like doing an animation. Yesterday we heard from Tom Cito, like something he thinks is entertaining was to make people act in a way that they don't ever behave in reality. Like make them do something opposite, like make a big old strong guy act like a little baby or something. Are there any other like guidelines towards getting entertainment, like types of things that you would put into your work just to make people more entertained, like that type of thing?
Yeah, it's all individualized, depending on what you're trying to get across in your story point. Mm-hmm. As long as it doesn't interfere with what you're trying to get across with your audience, and trying to find things, little bits of what they call business. You know, it's when Laurel went up, you get ready to touch the doorbell, he was just a little flare. I mean, you could do this, but you can just sort of do this. The anticipation, you're making something more of it than it actually is. So it's not always doing something that it's impossible to do, but doing something with a little bit of flair to it, you know, and without taking it too far. So yeah, you look for little bits of business that are entertaining, but at the same time, they aren't deviating from the story point that you want to get across. Because the story point has to ring the doorbell. And so there's how many ways can you ring a doorbell? You know, you can, a little flair that he gave to it. You know, you can do this, you can do this. You know, there's all kind of entertaining, fun ways to do it, but is that within the character, the personality of the character to do that? You know, it was totally within his personality to do that because he's always, it's about me and I'm doing this and you're dumb, so you get out of the way, you stand in the way, let me handle all the talk. So that fits his personality to have a little flair when he does this, so that fits. You know, but it wouldn't have fit Oliver to do the same thing. You know, so you look for bits and pieces of business that is within the realm of that particular character to keep it believable. You know, Jack Nicholson can play certain parts, you know, but he couldn't play the part of, say, that was written for a Jim Carrey type character. You know, so Jim Carrey going to do things that are within his personality, and Jack Nicholson is going to do things within his personality, and so they become believable. They become unbelievable when a character is doing things that are not within his realm. Yeah. So that's another thing to think about, building a personality of your character. When I did Dr. Sweets, he has a lot of backstory. I wrote off to several medical institutions that, because this being a period piece, there's certain things that, like medical equipment, things that would go into the medical bag, things that were being used during that particular time before World War I. And so I was supplied with plenty of information from medical institutions who had medical supplies and things that were within believability to keep him within the realm of believability. When I did the help in Fantasia 2000, I went up to Plentywood, Montana, and it was 28 below zero during the day, and it was very, very cold. But it was an elk farm up there, and to be able to see these elks before the antlers fell off, and again to keep this elk within the realms of believability for what the picture called for. And again, Jolly was doing things that a goat can't do, but it was plausible, believable, because of it was based on reality. And so to find, again, no bits of business, to keep the character entertaining. This character had the screen footage on Jolly was like 600 some odd feet of footage that was in the picture, but he was originally written to be like 300 feet, so he wasn't there in the picture a lot when I first started. But every time he had a screen, the character was so entertaining. Part of it was that little bit of business where he jumped, he did backflip, and doing some things that was very entertaining to the audience. So the audience was responding to Jolly, and so they said, okay, let's write him in some more. Let's get him into some more scenes. And so by the time they finished up his screen time, and literally doubled from when it started out, because he was such an entertaining character, not just a tag-along to Esmeralda, but now he becomes a part of, an integral part of her story, and an extension of who she was. And so that's another part of, again, taking advantage of trying to be entertaining, but also keeping it in the realm of believability. Questions, comments, observations? I don't know how much more I have to say. Feel free to take a look at any of these thumbnails, sketchbooks back there. I've got some more things.
Ron, could you share with us some of your favorite pieces? You've worked on so much stuff over the years, but like what really stands out for stuff you really enjoy working on? Something that really made a mark on your life?
At this point, I think, and I said before, I'm still in the ball game, and I got a few more at bats, so I really can't look back and say that the first or second inning was like it for me. I really enjoyed working on all the characters. All the characters had a built-in degree of difficulty. They had different things to study, give me the opportunity to study animals, work on Lion King, difference between when cats walk and when cats carry themselves as opposed to dogs, as opposed to zebras, the difference in anatomy between horses and deer and elk, as opposed to the anatomy of lions and tigers and bears, which again are four-legged, but there's a difference in anatomy as well as skeletal structure. Dealing with live-action type characters, John Smith, which was totally different from, say, Dr. Sweet. But again, the human characters, so they all have their built-in degree of difficulty, you might say, as well as a challenge. And so I can't point to any character and say this is the summit, but they've all been really a boon to me as an artist to be able to observe, to analyze, and have an opportunity to actually animate and bring hopefully some believability to the character with that.
You said you started at Disney, you were an illustrator, so how hard was it of a hurdle to get really good as an animator, especially with Disney standards?
A big part of just getting into animation is to be able to draw well. And again, I think I mentioned that Eric Larson said that the only difficulties for an animator is his imagination, his ability to animate what he imagines. And so by being a good draftsperson, that's what got me into the studio in the first place. The other things of acting, timing, staging, these things are book knowledge. These things can be learned. You look at enough film, good film, bad film, film in general, and you see how things are staged, you see how they get across the idea. You can, again, utilize music, utilize color. All these things help to get over the mood or the idea that you're trying to get across to your audience. But there's other things, acting. Disney animators would we take acting classes, we study acting, do some acting ourselves. All this is in an attempt to be better storytellers. And so, part of it is drawing. Another big part of it is just the study of acting and how to tell a story. And we tell the story with long pictures. We're using a series of pictures to tell a story, whereas an illustrator would use one picture to tell a story, and an author would use words to tell a story. And so, it's a process. And again, drawing is one of the hurdles that, as an animator, you want to not to have that to be a hang-up. You want to be struggling over your drawing. Exactly what you're struggling over your drawing. And so what I struggle with is the acting, trying to make the characters come alive, and to timing. How is this best time to get the most out of the length of time I have for the scene? Can I get across the idea within the time limits of the scene, and within the way the scene is laid out, and the camera angles, and all these things come into play as to getting over your story point scene by scene by scene, which it comes to the big picture, which the director is responsible for making it all happen scene by scene by scene. That sheds some light on me. Great. That's your hand?
Yeah, I did. I missed a lot of the presentation, but
I'll do it again at 6 o'clock.
yeah. You talked about a lot of the production stuff that you did, obviously, in House was your tenure at Disney. Have you pursued anything independent, like your own story, your own films outside of Disney?
Not film, but I am in the process of writing a book on how to quick sketch. Again, if you look at the sketchbooks, you can see that those are from live action, from actually being at sporting events or in the mall or wherever. And there's a science to be able to quick sketch accurately, because you're dealing with body types, you're dealing with proportion, you're dealing with body language, and taking all the knowledge of all the various art classes that I've ever had, and all the things that make for a good drawing, the silhouette value, and all of the proportions and perspective, and you have to do that all quickly, concisely, and so I'm presently writing a book dealing with that, what to look for, and that I do my own personal work, which is pen and ink sketches, or pen and ink illustrations that I do. I've done a number of these. I've taken some of, this is one, this is about half size, but pen and ink sketches, but again, based upon solid drawing. I do book and magazine illustration as well, and again, which are based on the same principles that are utilized in these thumbnails: good drawing, solid drawing, silhouette value, keeping the character on model, and so drawing is a springboard to so many other avenues of art. Painting, sculpture, sculpting, solid-based, all, but it's a lot of it is based on good, solid.
I saw in your sketchbooks you attend a lot of sporting events and do a lot of sports like drawing. Is that something that helps a lot, like with just different, like mimicking just different perspectives? I mean, because it's sort of hard to get that perspective like in the wall, you know?
Yeah.
Just the bodies being in at different angles and different perspectives.
Yeah, it's based on observation. One of the things that I deal with in the book is how do you go to a sporting event and capture the action. And part of it is just spending 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes just observing what's going on. Just looking at the athletes and what they're doing, how their bodies are, just observation. And you sit in the mall, you're sketching the mall, before you sit down, just sketching away, you sit there, you're observing people, how people are walking, how people are standing, how people are window shopping, you're looking at all this, and looking at their body language before you actually start to draw. So there's a method to the madness, you might say. Those are very quick lines, those are sketches, maybe 10, 15 seconds, but it's enough there to let you know if it's a male, female, heavy set, thin character, young, old. There's enough of a shorthand of information there to get over my message to the audience. There's no faces, there's no details, but you're able to look and immediately see what's there. And so that answers the question. So that becomes an entertaining, appealing drawing, something you like to look at. And that's what I strive for, is to put something on paper that a person likes to look at. There's nothing worse than somebody who walk by and look at the drawing, just keep on walking. I have an art show and I've got people standing there just looking. Just take a real good look and see. I think I've accomplished something that I wanted to happen. Is that people are going to take a real hard look at what I put down on paper. And it becomes something that I strive for.
Are you published with the book, and is there an ETA for that coming out?
Yeah, it hasn't been published yet. I haven't found a publisher. I've gone to, I've got a lot of positive feedback. Took it to Disney, but didn't have any Disney characters in it, so they liked it. It wasn't Disney enough. And Walter Foster, Representative Walter Foster, they said, wow, it's really nice, but it's not how-to enough. So I got to find a particular niche in which an editor was coming to us. So that's what I'm looking for. But it's a work in progress, and I'll keep you informed. I'm edging up on the contents of it.
Besides the drawing challenge and the getting the acting down, is there any particular challenge that you found that's pretty difficult when you're doing animation just as a career?
I guess dialogue and timing are something that I think all animators struggle with. What is the best way to make a mouth shape, and how is the best way? This is time, and so there's no one way to animate a scene. There's no one way in which a character is going to always say a particular line of dialogue, and so it's just like acting. You put it on an acting performance, and so that acting performance is going to change depending on the mood, and what story point you try to get across. And so what best fits this particular scene and this particular character in whatever mood he or she is, or it is in. Everybody in here is not the same as you got up this morning when you first woke up. And after a big meal, you're not the same. When you get ready to go to bed tonight, you're not going to be the same. So everything changes. And so we have to take those type of sensibilities into our animation. Again, whether it's live action, animation, 2D, 3D, actually putting on a play, performance. It just depends on the mood, the setting, the frame of mind that the character's in. And so now you have to become that character.
Mm.
So what comes out of that character is what's inside of you. That you're putting on a part of you in that character. So that makes that character unique.
Along with the acting, do you find that, like how you see certain actors, there's, definitely parts of that that you've seen in other movies that they've been, in the movie that you're watching now. Do you find that there are certain gestures or characteristics in your characters that maybe you put into Gaston as, you would have put into Doctor here? Or even into Jolly?
I guess that there's certain things that are universal. Because I guess that's why a laugh is a laugh all over the world. Sadness is sadness all over the world. And surprise is surprise all over the world. So there's certain things that are universal. But then again, depending on the character, how he feels at that particular moment is how he's going to respond to whatever stimulus is out there. The letter is good news, bad news, depending on what frame of mind he's in. So again, there's certain things that are universal, but they become unique to Dr. Sweet, to Jolly. And this character doesn't have a whole lot of emotion, but as I started out, the director said, well, let's see what he looks like if he smiles, if he's happy, if there's anxiety. So to do this whole series of drawings that were never ever utilized in this character in all these different emotional states, but he was just very, very legal and very, very loyal, and so he would never stoop to, a big hee-haw laugh, but I had to do that in order to, so the directors would say, okay, well, this is what he would look like if, but the story doesn't call for that. So we flesh all this stuff out as far as these characters. And all these characters have backstories to help to, for me to get a handle on how he would sit down, how he would reach to get something, how he would react to another character, because there's something beyond what you see in the story right here. There's a life before this, and so what was that life? And so having all this backstory information really helped me to bring life to this guy you just see for the first time on the screen.
I know you did some CGI animation. What is your opinion of working in CGI animation? Is it dinosaurs? I think that you worked?
Yeah, I worked trained on Dinosaur. I enjoyed it. Again, it's just a tool, storytelling, and I just miss drawing so much that I would go to work. I was on Dinosaur for about 9 months. I just was slowly getting depressed, and I was wondering why, because I wasn't drawing on daily basis. And so I went back to tradition, just because I just missed pushing the pencil so much. Little did I know that computer animation was going to take over the field and run all the, just push the pencils out the door. But yeah, I just missed traditional just drawing. It's just something about pushing the pencil and making some mistakes and erasing it up and getting back in there that I missed. But again, it's just another form of storytelling. The thing that you love about the Pixar movie is that their characters are personalities. Vassar and his group, his job was just bringing forth personality out of those characters. So that's what it's all about. continue to do is to take the characters and make personalities, things that we can remember about them. I empathize with them. I look up there and I don't see Simba, who's lost his dad in the stampede, and that becomes, a little boy that could be me. What would happen if I lost my dad? How would I feel at that young age? And so we empathize with that, so that becomes a memorable part, because again, the personalities and what you're trying to get across is the story points. That can be a very, very strong story point.
Earlier in your career, who was your inspiration as far as inspiring in Disney? So there's a lot of great artists like that.
When I went to Disney, I had no real idea of what I was stepping into, the greatness and the people that were there. Notre, Ollie Johnson, Frank Thomas, John Lounsbury, Eric Larson, Mark David. Those guys were still animated. They had animated on Snow White in 1937. When I went there in 1935, they were still on board for animated. And I hadn't gone to a Disney movie. I wasn't a Disney geek. I knew nothing about it. I had a wife, 2 kids. I needed a job. And that was the gist of it. I took my portfolio. I went to Citrus College, went to the University of Las Vegas, graduated, and came back to Southern California looking for employment. And I got a job at Honeywell doing block diagrams. I'd like to do something more creative. So after about a year and a half, I took a class at our center at night, and my instructor was a fellow named Sam McKim, and he said he worked for WED, Imagineering, who do all the rides, things, like rides, Disneyland. He said, well, they have a training program, and they're starting it's been in since about 70, so it's about 4 or 5 years in existence. He said, take your portfolio over there, and maybe something will happen. So I took his advice, I took my portfolio, I was trained I wanted to be a commercial artist. And I had all these drawings and stuff, and I took my portfolio over Eric Larson. He took a look at it and he says, it's nice, but do you have any quick sketches? He says, quick sketches? I had tons of quick sketches. So I went home and got about 3 sketchbooks and dropped them off at the Guardian. And they called me about a week later and said I could start based on the fact that I could draw. They could see movement in my drawings, that I could perhaps learn to be an animator. Not that I knew anything about animation, but I did. I knew anything about the animators, and anything about the players, and the animators that were there. I didn't know anything. I just went in cold turkey and learned from day one about the process of animation. So I didn't have anybody there that inspired me. It's just that I've been blessed to be able to draw. I love drawing, and it's been something that it's been, I guess, easy for me. It's something that I found to discipline myself to draw a bit every day, and to observe and to analyze action, to look at action, be able to put it down on paper. And so that is what they saw in me, that perhaps I could work into everything. Because again, assistant animator, assistant cleanup person, breakdown person, assistant breakdown. These are careers. So it's not that a person going to start out as an in-betweener, breakdown, assistant animator, and work way up to an animator. You can find any of those paths along the way. That could be one's career. It's just working and being at the right place at the right time, and having the opportunity to get a chance to animate. Again, guys who worked on Snow White in 1937 were still animating in 1975, and they were dying, retiring, just at an age where they were just couldn't be there always. And so they running this training program to train artists to be animators to take these guys' places. But there was nobody in between. They're very old, they're very young. Nobody in between. And yet, down the blue, Gary Goldman, John Palmer, rats and him, leaving another sort of a hole there, which give you an opportunity and others who are in the training program to be able to move up a little faster, just because of the attrition that happened at one time. So, but, when the doors of opportunity are open, you need to be ready to step in. So I commend you for taking time to go to classes and to seek further education, and take advantage of the educational opportunities that are afforded you so that you can prepare yourself for a career in the working world. Because once you start working, you'll be working for a long time until you retire. So you better be happy doing what you're doing. So the time you're spending now laying the foundation for your education is going to pay off in the long run.
Was the training program affiliated with CalArts? Is that what started out?
We got a lot of people from CalArts. Disney was sort of backing up.
Yeah, they were kind of found or
training
yeah.
People in animation there at CalArts. But there was not a whole lot of animation training back in the 70s. It was sort of dying art, Hanna-Barbera with limited animation, with Flintstones and stuff come out in the 60s. Been going through, try to cut corners and send things to Japan and other places that have been done very, very cheaply, very, very fast. That had a lot to do with the shrinking animation market back in the 60s, 70s, and there wasn't a whole lot of thought. Disney would do the picture once every 3 years, 3 to 4 years, they come out with a feature. So rather than let it die, we run a training program to try to pass on what these older guys knew to another generation. Very beginning, it was sort of very short. We did Oliver, Great Monster Detective. It was sort of more our speed, to sort of keep us we can do, and basically it sort of kept ramping up as Mermaid and Beauty and Beast kept ramping up, and it got to be a very strong storytelling medium. So very core storytelling stories.
Is it safe to say that you worked on pretty much everything from 75 to 2005? Like, at some level you worked on every Disney program?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I can't think of this. Maybe part. I didn't work on parts. I think that's probably. Tarzan is in Florida. Maybe a couple more.
Some of the straight to DVD stuff, the newer stuff. That's
straight to DVD.
all the
That's a whole different department.
Yeah.
Done in Japan and Australia. That's to do with Japan and Australia to the sequels.
But you had all the main features today.
Yeah, mostly.
Are you with the illustration group right now?
Yeah, I'm over in publications, and we do books and magazines for all the Disney publications. And Wally comes out, they have all these books and magazines, activity books, colored books, and stories. And we have to supply all our books.
With the Frog Princess, the thing's been going on for like 6, 7 years now, even maybe longer. Like it's been off on. You don't want to get your hand back going in the animation side of it?
Actually, I was contacted earlier on. Nothing ever panned out, but they've got a really great staff. I got a chance to look at some of the boards, what they've been doing. So it looks like it's going to be a nice, strong story. They got a real strong staff of animators there. They're pulling it off in good direction. So it should be a really good project.
What's the new project with Laster? In the 2D show, the new 2D feature?
Not quite aware of that.
Because Laster's kind of running.
I think John Musker is
Yeah,
directing.
he's here.
Okay.
John, isn't that the guys from Little Mermaid?
John is, he's directing Frog Princess.
Yeah.
So that's what's on board at the
Just one last thing, like about the Disney, the studio atmosphere in particular. We've had some old instructors from like, they worked at Disney at one time or another, and I've heard a lot of negative experiences and a lot of positive ones. And it sounds like yours has been mostly positive. Is that true? Like, what was your experience like working at the studio? Because I know it's gone through some hard times, you know, from 1970s up until now. So what was that like?
You know, my perspective has been, very, very positive. Where else can you go and make a living doing what God bless you to be able to do? Draw a basketball player out there in the gym playing basketball all day long and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how I feel. I haven't gone to work a day in my life. I'm there. I'm being paid to push a pencil, and I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of. In my instance, you going to a director, you make sure that you understand his direction. You got a character that he wants to do a certain thing, he explains it to you. You take that information, come back with thumbnails to show him the direction that you want to go. He says yes, you take it, you do a really, really rough dialogue, etc. Show that to him. He says yes, or let's change this, or let's do that. And you take it to the next step, and you take it, flesh it out a little bit more, take it to the director, and he says yes. And so I'm animating it every step along the way with confidence, as opposed to others who get a scene from the director, go off and animate a scene, take it to show it to the director, and he says, that's not quite what I wanted. Can you do this? And people get very, very frustrated and flustered because they bled beet juice to get this thing done, working day and night, and the director doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And so so you get animosity, and they don't understand me, and so, but that has not been my experience, because again, whenever I leave the director's office, I know exactly what he wants, and if I'm not sure, then I've got to get in dialogue with him and find out what he wants. So again, I'm not just spinning my wheels, but I'm actually doing something that is in line with what he has in mind as a director, because that's what directors for, to give direction, because he has a whole picture in mind. And so my little slice of the scene is just a part of the whole. So my little slice of the scene can be so individual in what I want to see that it's not going to fit with what comes before and what comes after. So my experience has been positive for the most part. Positive experiences just because of the communication. And I think that goes with all relationships. If you don't communicate, husband, wife, party, staff, you're just not going to get along. There's going to be things you're going to take for granted, and others you're going to take misread, and it's just not going to communicate. So again, a lot of it is just communication. So that's been my
Anyone have any more questions, or are we done?
Do you have any influence of what goes on in Disneyland, sort of like an attraction like that, like making the screen?
Not now. They put in a ride down in Orlando with the Yeti and this ride they got down in Orlando. Just opened up maybe a year or so ago, and they had asked myself and others to come up with some ideas as to what this monster is going to look like. And so that would be my contribution to the Imagineering side of